out our new merch store at www.ShotOfFactsPodcast.com, where you can find our merch with shirts dedicated to each episode you love. Check it out today and support the Shot of Facts merch. Yeah.
And now everything is like, I think we live in a very sensitive world now. If you say anything or do anything wrong, either it's cultural appropriation or there's a Me Too movement, like things along those lines. So you got to be very careful on how you present things. It could be, and when I say that, what I mean is that you could have gotten away with certain things 5 years ago, and you can't get away with that today.
Right.
Like, you even see the kind of backlash that came up with when was it the Democrats had the Kente thing on? I did not.
Well,
I was surprised that people.
Okay, that's called pandering, but we're not gonna go off into that.
Okay, I got you. Yeah. But sometimes for me, like, even though I'm African 100%, like, I don't even trip about certain things, and I see that people be online writing all sorts of mean things. I'm like, wow, like, I care about. I don't think I care that much. You know what I'm saying?
Honestly, I feel like half of it is us starting to get more socially aware of things, and the other half is like the whole cancel culture.
Yeah,
and people cancel people just for every little thing. So I'm kind of stuck. I'm torn between the two, because sometimes people do need to get told off about themselves. Some people need to acknowledge that whatever they did was wrong, but also people try to cancel people off of every little thing. And
with no mindset of like when the time period was or anything like that. So
Context is always really, really important in understanding how things come from and how they are going. That's what I've gotten to realize, because like I had recently seen a video of this African American professor who had been to Ghana. We will probably talk about it later. I'm gonna send it to you. And if you see how he describes Africans out here, talking about we are savage, crude. We are, as the fact that we can speak our own language or have a culture is a misnomer, is purely misguided. We don't print our own clothes. We don't print our own money. He was like tearing up Africans, and my point was like, bro, you being on such a huge platform and the background that you have, if you have 5 minutes to say anything about Africans. I think he was asked about the fact that, so with this whole Black Lives Matter movement, where is the Africans? And his response to that was not anywhere close to addressing the question, but it was literally tearing up Africans, making African Americans see Africans as beneath them, like we ain't got none going on with us.
See, but I need more context of that. I'm gonna share that. I'm like, is the question asking where is the African representation, as if like African people are getting murdered as well?
It was asking for where is the African support during the Black Lives Matter movement. Oh. And in addressing that, he first of all
it's global support,
right? And I'm saying my problem was, bro, like, if you have 5 minutes to say anything, he first of all wanted to describe who the African was before answering the question, and he went on this tirade for like 13 minutes talking about how Africans ain't shit.
So with that being said, do you believe that there is a disconnect within the cultures, just off of stereotypes, off of rumors, off of media perceptions?
Definitely. I would even say there's a disconnect between Caribbean culture sometimes. Like majority of like Caribbean people, I know dog Haitians, like, they can't drink. They always got these different, just, I can't even remember an example. Oh, voodoo, and, they be eating mud and stuff like that. But I think the reason that the Caribbean islands have that disconnect with Haiti is because Haiti was the first to revolt. So I feel like all the other slave masters on different islands was like planning these little, Haiti really ain't where it's at, blah, blah, blah. And now here we are stuck in this bias against Haiti, when Haiti really is an inspiration and only poor because France has robbed them of all of their resources, and they're still paying France because they freed themselves.
Right.
But yeah.
Right. Yeah, there definitely is a disconnect. And even to answer that, the disconnect is as a result of spatial temporal factors. It's time and space, location. So many things inform this things that go to disconnect us. And even when it
And
comes
they
to
murdered
culture,
all the leaders that were trying to connect us.
That is true.
right? That you definitely need to find out. Like it's crazy. It's like that can be a whole different conversation. But what I was trying to say that even when it comes to even the culture of African of the out or the African culture, it's not an absolute. You know what I'm saying? Like when you come down to Ghana, internationally, we have like a Ghanaian representation. But I keep telling people when you go down to Ghana, it's now Fanti, Agan, Fanti Gan, Ashanti. I said Agan, my bad. Fanti, Gan, Ashanti, Ewe. And we have so many things that also divides us. I mean, no, I don't say divides us, but more like diversity. You know what I'm saying? So within Ghana, like me, for example, I'm half Gan, half Fanti. So I can speak Gan and Fanti and identify through both ethnic groups. You know what I'm saying? But I could just literally travel an hour away from my house and be in the Volta region and not have no clue what they're talking about, have no clue of the culture. So, you know, on the macro level, it looks nice, like, oh, he Ghanaian, oh, we cool. But down within at the micro level, I'm Gan, I'm Ashanti, I'm Fanti. And that in itself has so many things that also divides us as Ghanaians. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Politics, food, culture. So I tend to think about it as like some type of diversity rather than say division. But all those things do exist. Just like for Nigerians, you have Yorubas, Ashanti, Hausas, and Igbos. But then at the macro level, it's Nigerians. But when you go down to the kind of things that really influences policy, the politics within Nigeria, is where you come from, where your allegiance is.
Right.
And if you do a careful study, you will notice the political terrain in Nigeria is distributed based on the ethnic groups that do exist in those areas.
So,
Even within, oh, sorry.
do you believe that it's a difference between, or is there diversity versus division in the cultures? Like, I know, let's say the African different cultures, right? And there's so many different languages, so many different cultures within one racial group, right? But
Hmm.
as you mentioned, sometimes different opinions, different lifestyles get brought up and it brings tension as far as policy and things of that sort. So would you say that the difference is more of a division
It depends on what we're talking about here, like
of overall cultures?
and what level of, let's say, even government we've been talking about. To some extent, it is a division. I'm not gonna lie, and that's one of, in my personal opinion, it's one of the things that have stifled African development. Because
Mm,
at the end of the day, when it comes to both local government all the way to national level, when it comes to the distribution of funds, government projects, on a macro level, as you know, for a country, but for the micro levels, we're doing things for the Ashantis, we're doing things for the Ghans, we're doing things for the Arabs, because they are going to be the electorates, they're going to be doing the voting. So they want to see those kind of developments in their constituencies or districts. If they don't see that, they're not voting for you. So, in my opinion, yes, on the international level is diversity, down in the micro level is division.
mm, okay.
But I think it's also pretty different with our generation because of education mainly, which is unfortunately Western education. So like for me, I'm not that much rooted in my traditions as a Ghanaian or as a Ghan or as a Fanti. And therefore it makes it easy for me to, melt with other people from different backgrounds compared to how that same relationship would have happened with my parents. You know what I'm saying? I have more friends from different tribes than my parents did, and it gets better over time. So perhaps I know that the future is bright in terms of how we can all, come into a melting pot and identify more as Ghanaians than, our respective tribes.